there isn't much else beyond that to want. Of course, we all know that's not true. It is an incredibly rewarding profession and craft a lot of the time. The life experiences it affords are unbelievably cool. But is it enough? Is there more to do beyond the work of an actor and filmmaker and the attendant reality of being a celebrity? For some, no. That work will never be complete and requires total devotion. For me, I've had lots of other plans for my life. So what can I do? Well, I can begin to challenge myself to evaluate if I'm being as good or loyal or decent or brave as I should be. I can move forward. I can do what I've always done, what has given me the great satisfaction in life. I can be a leader. I can lead. Sounds pretty pompous, right? Arrogant. I assure you there is nothing more... I assure you that there is nothing quite like leading people, and not just in battle. There's nothing like leading people in some endeavor or other that has merit. Coaching, teaching, parenting, directing. And in my life, I've been an outspoken advocate and activist. I've worked in politics, and I've served on boards, and I've done lots of philanthropic and volunteer work. I've spoken out on issues that are important to me. In short, I've tried my best to be a leader. I wanted this conversation to be about leadership and fellowship. Fellowship. This state of being, this experience, is glorious. It certainly was glorious with the other hobbits and the cast at large and the crew on the trilogy. I've enjoyed fellowship in many ways throughout my life. Spiritual fellowship, fellowship in college, in sports, making movies, with travel companions, even especially with family. What I've learned about fellowship is that it can be fleeting. It is a sacred thing to wrap yourself in the embrace of your friends, people who have come through some stage or stages of your life with you. It's so important to relish every second of it, because most bonds of fellowship have a narrative with a beginning and a middle, and hopefully to be continued. So soak it up and give much of yourself to it. That's what I learned about fellowship from the Lord of the Rings. Also, that there is awesome power in unity, and tattoos on the outside of your ankle hurt. And it's good to have an elf and a dwarf with you when taking on a cave troll. Teamwork and fellowship. Now, I've talked about the boundaries between fact and fiction, and how it relates to audiences and their blurring perceptions with the performers they come into contact with. So in a broader sense, in any given forum, I'm never completely sure of where people stand at the moment on the idea of celebrity and stardom and fame as it relates to individuals taking on leadership roles in our society. The Eisenhower Symposium here at Johns Hopkins is widely acclaimed for bringing speakers who can address an issue of national importance. This year's theme, as I understand it, has to do with transitions between generations. I suppose I represent one of the older generations now. Wow. In a changing America. The fact that your favorite stars, be they movie, television, or reality television stars, that celebrities in general, even if they only just popped onto the national or even the international radar, the fact that those voices echo incredibly loudly in our national discourse beyond their areas of accomplishment makes understanding that dynamic quite important. So let's do that. Let's pull on the celebrity impact on our culture thread a bit and see where it takes us. By and large, when folks speak to issues that are directly related to their own experience, their efforts are met warmly. I have in mind those who have been touched by AIDS and cancer and heart disease, or people who are obsessed with curing homelessness, or fixated on protecting animal rights and those kind of things. Unless, like Michael J. Fox, for example, your advocacy and leadership on an issue intersects with people who have deeply held opposing viewpoints about what you're doing, stem cell research, etc. But I've observed that when people are gathered together, or appearing on radio or cable shows and the like, it seems easy and safe to pick apart the ridiculous accoutrements of celebrity culture and to skew the outrageous sums of money and overblown lifestyles led by members of the media elite. But no matter how critical we are, if we're being honest, we must concede that in private, at home, or on the internet, at movies or concerts or scintillating talks at your local university. Even if you have a solid grasp of the demarcation line between fiction and nonfiction, it is inescapable that we are all curious and moved at certain points in some way by the quirky, bizarre, often talented, sometimes disturbed creatures from Hollywood and other places of media culture beyond. Let's consider what it is that happens to people when they find themselves, through circumstance, outside of this formal setting, navigating the space between being curious and titillated by the lives and behavior, opinions and beliefs of a given public figure or celebrity, and our natural instinct to develop a more generalized, often harsh attitude about the personalities in question. What criteria do people use? How do they determine when to switch allegiance? One wonders how it benefits our culture to approach our feelings towards each other with unfathomable intensity and curiosity one minute, and utter disdain and loathing the next. In my experience, people's attitudes about public figures are on a hair trigger. Often folks are either seen as absolutely amazing or completely despicable, frequently without mercy or consideration beyond that. There's a striking callousness to the public at large's fleeting adoration and disdain. Whenever we watch the news or see a movie or skim a magazine in a checkout line, we are, each one of us, like a little mini tribunal, acquitting or convicting people on a whim. It might seem harmless that we make these judgments or hold these feelings, but I don't think so. If it were personal, if we actually knew the people we loved or hated, or worse, dismissed out of hand, I'm certain that we would be far more careful in our attitudes. I suppose there is often a mutual arrogance between celebrities and the public that reinforces itself. So this is the sensitive environment, this culture of building people up and tearing people down, that has been the reality that all of us really, but for me, has been a reality that I've had to conquer as I seek to achieve greatness in this mortal realm.